In with significant breaking news. Iran state media is reporting that the nation's president and foreign minister have died in a helicopter crash. Search teams arrived at the site of what was originally called a hard landing, and they found no sign of life. According to a news outlet affiliated with the Iranian government, 7 other officials were on board the aircraft at the time of the accident. The Associated Press cites Iranian state TV as giving no immediate cause for the crash, although weather could be a factor. The group was returning from an event near Iran's border with Azerbaijan when the helicopter went down. Heavy fog prevented search and rescue teams from finding the wreckage for hours. A hardline conservative within the Iranian political landscape, the president, Raisi, has been Iran's leader since 2021. Joining us now, NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel, live from Europe. Richard, tell us what's the latest we know here about the cause of the crash, and tell us a little bit more about the man who died.
So what we know is from Iranian state media that there was this trip meeting with officials in Azerbaijan in the border area. This is a mountainous area in northern Iran covered in forests. There were, according to Iranian state media, 3 helicopters traveling together. One of them went down carrying the Iranian president, Raisi, and other officials. They initially said it was a hard landing. There was quite a bit of skepticism, however, when images of the area started to emerge, totally blanket it in fog. Generally, helicopter crashes don't end well, don't often end with survivors, particularly in the mountains, in the forests, with those kind of conditions. Then for the overnight period in Iran, there was quite a bit of silence. People were anticipating that Iran was going to be making an announcement. The anchors on state television started wearing black. There was this presumption that soon they would be announcing that he had died. And then a relatively short while ago, because this is now about 16 hours or so since it happened, so quite a few hours passed before they made the announcement that they did not find survivors among the wreckage. It causes short-term problems for Iran, but more importantly, it raises some serious succession issues about the Iranian regime, because President Raisi was, yes, as you mentioned, a hardliner, but he was also tapped to be, very likely tapped to be the next supreme leader in Iran. And Iran doesn't function. Iran is a theocracy. It has been in power since 1979, since they overthrew in Iran thousands of years of hereditary rule by different dynasties and monarchies and shahs. After the theocracy came in 1979, the country has been ruled by clerics, only 2 of them. And the second Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is 85 years old. And Raisi was widely anticipated to replace him, a man who was in his 60s, could have potentially been leading Iran in the ultimate position of power for the next 2 decades. And now he died in this helicopter crash. So they have 2 immediate problems. One, to replace the president. Technically, the vice president steps in and should hold new elections within the next 50 days. But the president is not the one who wields the power. The main decisions in the country are with the supreme leader, and he was being groomed to be the supreme leader, raising real questions about the future of rule in that country. Could it expedite more power being, could we start soon seeing more power being wielded by the Revolutionary Guard? Some analysts that I've spoken to, intelligence officials, believe we should watch this internal space. They do not expect to see any major changes in policy, that the basic positions of Iran, which are 3 and have been fixed for the last several decades, will not change. And those 3 core principles of Iran being that Israel should be replaced with Palestine, that the United States should be driven out of the Middle East, and that the U.S.-led world order should be overturned, and that Iran needs to make allies with whoever is on that page, including Iran or Maduro or a host of others. So they do not expect that those three basic core principles from Iran are going to change, but it does create a leadership crisis, which could potentially even threaten clerical rule at the expense of seeing a more traditional military dictatorship, the Rev Guard, stepping in.
And this comes, of course, such a fraught moment in the region, the war in Gaza and the recent hostilities between Iran and Israel. The world is certainly watching what happens here. NBC News Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Engel, thank you. We will see you again very shortly.